So the second part of this video got a little bit of something different. We've never really done it, and I don't think tons of people have asked us to do it, but it's always been on the videos whenever people see how many miles per gallon our cars do, or they always ask us what they do. Never said do a video on it, but I suppose this will answer quite a few people's questions. Obviously this car, 294 horsepower, 400 foot-pound, 2260 turbo, so it's a good daily driver. I drive it, other people drive them at this spec, so it should be fine. We'll what we've done at the minute, I'll not try and do it, you just have to take my word for it, because it's not good for the fuel pump really, but there's no fuel in this at all. We've drained every bit of fuel out of this car. There weren't much in it anyway, only about 5 litres in it when we drained it, but there's none in it whatsoever. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get a gallon of fuel, which is exactly a gallon in here, not 5 litres, it's 4.55. That don't work without the key. Keys in the car. Not planned this out very well. For some reason when we bought this car all them years ago, this were already snapped. The amount of times I've left that at petrol stations, unbelievable. But anyway, that's me just being stupid. So we'll get the gallon in. Hopefully don't spill in it. We might need these drops. And I don't want it to stink in the car if I can help it. So, I don't need that one. So, I've got a 17mm spanner and a jump pack and another gallon of fuel. I'm hoping I don't need any of that stuff, but I'll definitely need that. Make sure that goes on this time. So what I'm going to have to do now, because the car won't start, and these common rail engines are a bit of a pain. Let's get this signed in. I'm going to have to prime the fuel pump, which is what we do whenever we do a fuel filter on these cars anyway. Where are we? You have to prime the fuel pump so that it pushes all the air out, because in theory, how this is going to be now, there'll be air in all the fuel lines. Oh dear, I haven't used it on this computer for a while. So I'm going to select control module, engine, I believe it should be in basic settings on this one. I've not done it for a long time. Transfer pump there, fuel transfer pump test. Something's happening. All lights are flashing, telling me. So as you can see on the dials, we've got 0 miles left. And if you want to verify it, 88,614, 0 on the trip. So I'll be keeping an eye on trip, but for anybody who wants to do the maths to make sure we're not telling any lies. The time's definitely going to change because I've got, there's some stuff to do in between this and actually going, but we'll get it to start first and then we'll go from there. So I've got a route planned, not quite sure where I'm going to have a problem, but the idea is not to break down on the motorway because that's illegal. You get yourself in some trouble doing that, and there's a chance I might have George with me depending what happens, depending when I can get back out. So yeah, the plan is just to drive as far as I can get. I'm not going to just keep going in one direction. I'm going to sort of be heading towards, because if we aim to be doing sort of, the route's going to probably be 50 miles or so, something like that maybe. I'm hoping we get past that and I can just sail on by, but I'm hoping I can do around that, but we'll see what it does. But the economy figures that I've found from driving this, it's going to be, usually drive it a bit harder than maybe I need to, but if we take it sort of steady, which I'm not going to drive it like a grand, I'm going to try and get to the speed limits. I should hope I can do 50 miles or something like that. But we'll see how we get on. I've not done this test. I've not done any testing beforehand to see how many miles we're going to get before it cuts out. I know that when it gets to 0 miles, it doesn't just cut out, so I'm not going to worry if it says once we set off, it only goes up to 30 or something like that. But we'll see what it actually gets to. It's going to have to, wheels are going to have to be turning for a little bit. Tank slosh about a little bit before that changes from 0. So we'll see what that actually turns to. So this says it's finished correctly. Let's see if it actually starts. There we go. So it might take a bit more starting if I drive it till it splutters and cuts out. Once I feel it spluttering, I might just pull over if it's safe to do it then. I'm probably not going to wait until I completely conk out, because I might end up stuck in a position where I don't want to be. But we'll see what happens anyway, we'll see how many miles we get. If we're pushing as low, if we only do 20 and it completely cuts out, I'll be a bit shocked. We might have to test a bit in a different way around, maybe do it, see how many, drive 100 miles and see how much it takes to fill it or something like that, but we'll see. I'm hoping this test works. Danny thinks it's a bad idea, but we'll see what happens. So we'll be in the car next time you see us. Right then, so I've got a little route planned out, which might be easier to put a picture in, but basically I'm going to drive to the motorist, which is 27 mile away. It's going to take me 40 minutes, and it might be closed by the time I get there, which is, oh dear, click wrong button. Continue, I'm alright. So, we've started, put my phone in there. Let's get ready to go. So, the car's absolutely flat cold. It's not been driven for 2 days, so it's not ideal doing it from cold, because you're not getting a 100% accurate, this is how many miles per gallon it does, because most of the tests that you'll see most of the videos that people do, or the tests that the people do, will do with warm engines, stuff like that, so it's not ideal. We'll see what's what. So as people can see from me driving, I'm not hypermiling at all. I'm not trying to drive inefficiently, but I'm also not driving the most efficient way you can. I'm going to be doing no pulsing and gliding, I don't like that, but we shall see. So I'm still a little bit worried about how, pardon me, it's still saying 0 miles, but see how long that takes. I imagine this is what it's like driving an electric car, a bit of range anxiety. Never done all like this before, so God knows how far we're going to get. There might be that with only 1 gallon of fuel in there, it might not actually be enough. We might not be able to get it all out while we're driving, so we'll see what happens. So I'm not sure how much footage Danny's going to want, so So what I might do is keep my gob shut, just dance to some music, and then when something significant happens, I'll try and comment on it. But up to now, it's driving, says 0 miles, fuel light's definitely on, and I've got, how many miles to go? 26 miles to go before we're there, so it'd be a crying shame if we don't even get there. But the route I'm taking is going to be up the A1 to get there, but then it's a few mile off the A1, so it's 21 mile-ish, so 22 mile-ish from here now. And then when we on the way back, obviously I don't want to push my luck and get myself in any trouble, because you should never drive on the motorway if you know you're definitely going to run out of fuel. So it's gone up to 5 miles now, stuck in a little bit of traffic, which is not going to help our economy, and I'm not sure I can talk and drive economically, so I'll shut up for a bit and go from there. So we're 5 mile in, and it still says 5 miles, so is that a positive thing? We'll see. So we've just gone down to 0 miles now, 18 miles in, so I don't think that's too bad. I don't remember ever doing more than a few miles when it says 0 miles since owning this car, so see how we get on. Not too far till we're getting off the motorway anyway. We've done like 17 and a bit miles, nearly 18 miles before it went to 0. So 2 miles until I'm getting off this motorway, so not worried yet. Not worried at all. Let's go left here, heading towards cafe on the way here as well, where all the bikers meet up and a lot of cars, Squires. Not been there for years, not ever took any of our cars, so again, another thing we can do in summer, take some of the show cars up there. That's the plan anyway. See how that fares out. Got fairly busy racing season ahead of us, trying to juggle family and work and racing can be a little bit difficult. So 22.6 miles at the minute, still going strong, nothing to worry about. This is the place. The motorist. Well, look to be very open. Yeah, I think there's only certain days it's probably open to public coming in and having a look. machines slogans, don't be a dick. So these are a little bit more polite about not speeding away from their premises. You know, that can be a problem, them sort of places. What I'll do now, so it's 27.5 miles up to now, so if we just literally drove the same way back home, which I don't want to do because I don't want to go on motorway, that'd be 55 miles per gallon, which would be very good considering this is the power it is. And I've not really been driving super eco. I've not been trying to use any fuel, but I've also not been taking it super steady. So we're 30 miles in, just about, just ticking over that, and I hope to God it don't conk out on this road. It says soft verges, it's more like a bloody finished rally stage, all the bumps and the trees. So I've been sat here for a decent amount of time now, and obviously if you're in a more modern car, this engine, cars that have got this engine do have it, silly stop start. I'm not a big fan of that at all. Disconnect it on all my cars, because that makes this European driving cycle efficiency better. But that's only, well, in the emissions test, that's only because half of it's sat there just idling anyway, which I think is a lot of rubbish. And so much wear and tear on your starter motor, ring gear on your flywheel, alternator, battery, cam belt, not worth it. So that's why I'm just going to leave it ticking on. If it cuts out, exit runs out of fuel, so be it. I think I might be setting back off now anyway. This car's coming, whether they're just turning around, not too sure. These train lines are not helping my efficiency, definitely not. So we've just tipped over 40 miles, so pretty good going. 40 miles per gallon's not to be sniffed at, I don't think. It's not bad for a car like this anyway. Obviously driving it so gently, I want to get a fair bit more, but it's doing what it needs to do. Really love driving this car. It's just so easy to drive, even like I'm 50 mile an hour, 6th gear, 1200 RPM. The gears are so long in it, so comfortable cruising. Probably a bit too long to be as sporty as it could be. I prefer the Cooper ratios, which are quite tall in first and second, and then pretty short after that. This is like almost one of the longest gearboxes you can get. That's why we use it in the Arosa. Keep going this way. Thinking about going that way, but we'll keep going this way, past Eggborough. I've been driving for a fair while now. What we on? An hour and 15 minutes so far. Probably another good 20 mile, roughly 20 mile back to work. The light's going. Should have set off a little bit earlier, but luckily, if I'm stuck at the side of the road, I've got the dark side high-vis jacket on. So everybody will be able to see me in my completely black hoodie. We're not far off, 45 miles now. good. Just coming past Kellingley Pit. It's closed down now. I think that was the last deep coal mine in England. Pretty much end of an era. A lot of people from obviously around here, but around where we're from, where our unit is, they're all mining towns, so everybody's got a miner in their family. Oh no! Which camera's going off? So, this has turned into quite possibly the worst vlog in the world. Might not even been that good in first place, but it's definitely got worse because the camera looking at me has gone off. The camera looking at the speedo has gone off. Oh, looking at the odometer. So, I'm going to have to try and rig something up quickly, even though I don't know what I'm doing with GoPros, and try and have it looking out where it can see a bit of everything, and then see what happens when it runs out. So I've had to take the engine off for the first time. I'll do this and then get cracking. So we're back on. Started straight up, which is nice. Off I go. So I'm hoping to God we've got enough battery in this last camera. I'm hoping everybody can see what's going on here, because if not, I've wasted what's going to end up being 2 hours of my life. I don't think I've got 2 hours to waste, and I've come down the road with the most speed bumps in the world just because I wanted to get somewhere easy to do the cameras, but see how many speed bumps we have to go over. So we've just tipped past 55. Shocked if there's much more in it now. To back to work, so are we going to make it 57 miles in? Not too sure. So the fuel light on this car comes on about 50 miles away from empty. $60 miles. So nearly back at work. Nearly 62 miles. I think I might pull back in. Get Danny to come out with some more batteries, because knowing my luck, if you don't come out with any more batteries, this camera will stop working and then we will be screwed. So after a bit of faffing about, Danny's back on his way. Got some new batteries in them all, so shouldn't have any problems. and because it's got ridiculously dark, I've got an Ibiza jacket on, because when I planned this, we're probably planning to set off half an hour earlier and probably run out of fuel 10 mile earlier. So I think we'll go for a little ride. I'll go up the bypass, back down the bypass. So we've got 62.5 miles on the clock. Five miles now. Got to decide, where do I want to run out of fuel, because it's going to happen very, very, very soon, because I can hear that fuel pump more and more. So during that little, I won't call it a pit stop, I managed to get out and have a waz while Danny did camera batteries. But if people want to say things like we've put some extra fuel in, or we're cheating anyway, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're lying, because I'm going to be late home now because this has gone on for as long as it has. So it's definitely not in my interest for this to go on too crazily. Don't get me wrong, I don't want it to have conked out after 20 miles, that'd have been embarrassing. That was one of the potentials. But I also don't want it to go on for another 50 miles, because then we'll have to figure out where the rest of the fuel's gone, or should I say where the rest of the fuel's come from. So noisy. So we're at 70 miles now. That fuel pump we're getting quite noisy. I'm sure if the car's starting to feel a little bit hesitant. Might be making that up. Psychological. But what I'm definitely going to do is put this other gallon of juice in that I've got in the bag, and then I'll make sure I fill that one up so I've got another spare. But then I'll go for another drive, and I think the only way to be sure is to run it again. I'm not going to do it in one big hit like this again, it's just took far too much time. Just have to see where I get when I use this to go home and back. 71 mile now. The range anxiety is certainly kicking in. It's a good way of focusing the mind running about with no fuel, because you're constantly wondering, well, if it cuts out now, where can I go? Oh, it definitely hesitated then. I'm pretty sure it's hesitating all the time now when I'm just going near the throttle. Definitely feels a little bit lazier. Still got enough fuel to idle, so it's not quite cutting out. This is crazy. I definitely felt an hesitation coming off that roundabout. So I'll have to try and make sure I've got a bit of momentum out of the roundabout so I don't cut out entirely. quick check before I go in. Still idling. This is getting very close to the wire. So kind of going back the way we've just came to the unit now, because I'm not driving round the wrong way. Still idling. Oh no, we need to slow down a bit if we're going to keep rolling into this. I don't know if that was just a glitch in the matrix. We've still got plenty left. No, definitely. Whether it's software related. No. Oh, yeah, we're stuttering. Oh, we're in limp mode. There we go. I think we need to find somewhere to pull over a little bit better than this, because it's not a big curve here. But we're in limp mode now. We've got a flashing glow plug light. 72.5 miles in. And it just happened 10 yards ago. Let's try and keep it rolling. This is a busy roundabout. Oh, we've just stumbled a lot then. I think I'm going to pull in here, because this is not a bad place for it to stop. But I think we've done enough miles that I don't need to let it till it completely cuts out. But yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'll get my computer fired up first while it's still idling, just in case it cuts out. I'll see what the fault code is. But these common rail engines, they don't like any air in the fuel at all, is it? Oh baby, there it is. They don't like any air in the fuel whatsoever. You get a tiny bit of air in the fuel rail, and the rail pressure drops, and the engine's not happy. I think this has been a successful test so far, probably too successful. 72.5 miles to the gallon of fuel. But I'll put the other gallon in now, and then I'll report back probably a couple of days before I do that sort of mileage. I'll be able to do that sort of mileage. But we might not get anywhere near there. We might do 20 mile and it starts doing the same thing. So I'll put that extra fuel in. See what happens. So, back at it. Car's been sat for a couple of days. George's tractor isn't back. I'm going to try and get home knowing I'm going to run out of fuel. So I've got my laptop and the VAGCOM. I'm going to go a long way around just to make sure, because knowing my luck it'll not. So, see where we get. So 52.5 miles so far on this one, and where camera is now, it's a different camera. You can only just see it, so it might mean leaning forward when I want to see it, but it's going a bit in the drive. See what happens. So this is probably like journey number 5 that we've done so far. Might even get a video at back window getting popped with that tractor. We'll see. sure something's happening now. It's not going into limp mode yet, so do it go a little bit further. Definitely felt it all back then. What's that at? 62. I think I felt this last time, and also a little bit of hesitation. Yeah, definitely going to go into limp mode very soon. Oh, there we go. We're in limp mode. What's that? Bang on, 63 mile per gallon this time. Yeah, bang on 63 mile per gallon. We're in limp mode. Not in a bad position to pull over. There's already a car there. But I'll get around this roundabout. Pull over. So I'll knock it off, because last time leaving it running for too long didn't really help me out, because then it took a bit of cranking to get it going. But what I'll do now, I'll get that fuel stuck in and then see if it starts. But I think we'll summarise, and then the end will be putting that fuel in, I think. But it's been a bit of a surprise to me. Obviously the first time we did 72.5, but how we drained that last time, we'll just turn the fuel pump on and drained it out of the fuel filter. Then went for a drive. Obviously the second time when it cut out, we drained that by driving it until it went into limp mode, which that don't mean there's no fuel at all in tank. That's not what we're trying to achieve, because you definitely damage your fuel pump if you do that. But you're getting little air bubbles in, so it's definitely sucking up the dregs of what's in there. So it's gone off now, but we'd done 72.5 mile the first time, and then 62 mile this time on the 1 gallon of fuel. So if we were to do it fairly again, we'd fill it up again and do it, but it's took so much time to do this driving and get this video. I think we'll just leave it at this, and what I'll basically say, this car's doing well over 60 mile per gallon if you take it very steady like that. That's no real hard acceleration. I've done a bit of braking, so it's not been coasting into every roundabout, coasting up for every junction stuff. Done a bit of braking, a bit heavier than I probably want to, and I've had to stop and tick over for a little bit sometimes. So really happy with how many miles per gallon we've been able to get. The fuel economy, we'll put all that into metric for people in Europe and stuff like that, and just so people know, we've not done anything to this tune to make it more economical than it normally would be. This is the tune that I've been driving this car on for years. It's the daily tune, nothing fancy about it, and like I say, not to know weird to make it do what it's doing. It's on Uniroyal Rain Sport tyres at the proper pressures. It's got big brakes on it still. Not done anything to make it lighter. If I made it heavier, I put a 40 kilo tractor, 30 kilo tractor, whatever it bloody weighs, with big batteries in. So I think the test's been a success. Let us know in comments if you think it's been painful. We never expect, or we didn't quite know where we were going to get and what we were going to do, especially this second time we all stopping and starting. Obviously, engine's been cold pretty much every time I've started it. But anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully it's been enjoyable. It's probably been a bit boring, but sometimes science is not rock and roll. So, thank you.